Just gotta take a deep breath. Yeah, so for this review, we're gonna start off with just a meditation, guys. Just breathe in, breathe out. Just relax. That's what I'm trying to do. It's what I'm trying to do. But we'll get into it. Comment your thoughts. Let me know how you're all feeling. Yeah, firstly, I tweaked the post at the end of the game. I said it was fucking embarrassing, but, you know, upon reflection, I didn't want to be that hard on the boys. So I've changed it to just fucking heartbreaking. There were most, you know, just the result itself. To me, if I'm being dead honest, I'm embarrassed. I don't give a shit that people are saying we're a young team and these things happen. Why do we have to fall into that category? We had chances tonight to take the win. We had chances tonight in that last quarter to seal the win. And we missed them. We just couldn't take them. And some people will say, well, Jake, you know, we had chances in that last quarter and that's a good thing. But I'm done with this mediocrity. I'm done with this, oh, that was good enough, but next year, I'm done with that. We've said that since 2011. We played a team tonight that were missing 8 or 9 players from their grand final team. 10 of their best. McGovern went off at halftime and he was killing us before that. You know, we had everything working for us. We had everything working for us, guys. And we've put ourselves into this position where we need to go into next Friday night against GWS knowing that if we win, we make finals, and that if we don't, it's another year of just watching every other team have success and play finals, you know? And I'm sick of that. You know, that's the biggest disappointment. The boys tried their heart out tonight. There was some players there, and I'm not going to name names, that just played shit and they let their opponent off the leash and they fucking killed us. Whoever, and you know who I'm talking about, whoever was on Tim Kelly, have a hard look at yourself in the mirror. He fucking won the game off his own boot tonight. Tim Kelly did everything. He was everywhere. And we did nothing to stop him. We tried Seb Ross on him. What else? Jack Steele we tried on him. Nothing worked. Surely there's another way that you can stop one bloke. You know? We were happy that Sheed and McGovern and these players were out and couldn't play. I'm actually thinking now, shit, we just needed Kelly out, we would have won this game. You know, he was that good, and we couldn't do anything to stop him. You know, and we were so inaccurate. There were so many gettable shots in this game. We just couldn't take our chances. And first quarter, you know, if I compose myself here and we talk about the first quarter, it was a good start. You know, we were 23-13 up. We were 10 points up at quarter time. Things were looking good. You know, at times it looked too easy for us. But we just killed ourselves missing chances. And I thought, okay, you know, this might come back to haunt us, but I'm thinking the boys look switched on. You know, they're ready to go. It doesn't matter that we've missed these chances. We will take over at some point and it will be a comfortable win. But West Coast are a very, very well-drilled team. And no matter who comes in, who comes out, similar to Richmond, you know what you're going to get from West Coast. And the main part of the ground that they were hit with injuries was the midfield, and that's where I thought we could get them. That's been one of our weaknesses this season, is teams get us in the midfield and that hurts us. I thought tonight, if we can stop Nick Nat, we can stop Kelly, we can stop Gaff, we win the game. We couldn't stop any of them. You know, we couldn't stop any of them. And, you know, for the most part, we kept Kennedy pretty quiet. Darling was pretty good early, but later in the game didn't do a whole lot. Same with Ryan. Oscar Allen bobbed up for a goal or two. But overall, you know, we just let them do what we just let them kind of dictate the game on their terms. And that hurt. You know, we kicked 3 goals in the first term. We don't kick another goal until a couple of minutes into the 4th term. You know, we go from... And you know, alternatively, the most frustrating thing about this is we've got it in us. The last term, we doubled our score, I think. You know, We went into the last term on, I think, 27 points. We ended up kicking 50 or 51 points or 50 points for the game. Where was that in the middle parts of the game? That's what I want to know. Because all week, even in the podcast, even in any just general discussion on how we can beat West Coast in general, regardless of their injuries, I said it, Joycey said it, Marshy said it, a lot of other scientists said it, play it along the ground. Play it outside of their strengths. Richmond did it, got the win. Bulldogs did it, and they beat West Coast without these injuries. Played along the ground. The first term we did that. We played scrubby along the ground, fast, quick hands football, and we get 10 points up. The last quarter in the first 15 minutes or 10 minutes, it was along the ground. We kicked 3 quick goals. We get in front, and we get 7 or 8 points in front, looking like the game's done. I was prepping the champagne, guys. I had the champagne ready to go. I thought, okay, the boys are on. We're going to overrun them, and that's it. But then we let them get back into it, and we just a couple of mistakes. The umpiring was dog shit. I know that, but I try to avoid that as much as I can. But tonight the umpiring was dreadful. But our lack of ruthlessness in that last 5 minutes to get the win really hurt us, and I'm going to struggle to sleep tonight, to be honest. This feels like a diary entry. It's just it's classic Saints. We're going into next week knowing we have to win, and God, I hope we do it. I hope we do it next week, guys. I can't bear another off season another final season where we just aren't there. We've progressed so far under Rats, and I know that some people are going to say reality is we're not quite there yet, but we've been in the 8 for the whole season. Why is it suddenly an excuse that it doesn't matter if we don't make it? How would you feel? Think about this. How would you feel if we've been finals bound all season? We've been top 8 literally all season, guys. Every round, bar maybe 1 or 2, we've been in the 8, in the top 6, sometimes in the top 4, and we miss finals, and a team like the Bulldogs, who hasn't been there all year, takes our spot. How would you feel? We deserve to be there. It kills me that losses, and we knew this going into it, losses like the North loss, like the Fremantle loss, like the Melbourne loss, like the Brisbane loss, these sort of losses are coming back to haunt us, and I really didn't want that to be the case, but they are. Those losses go down as wins, and we're battling for top 4 right now, knowing that we're comfortable in the 8 and we're making finals. But we're in this position, guys, and what better fan base to handle this sort of shit than Saints fans? We're used to a lot of shit, and next week it's going to be on. We've got 8 days now. We've got over a week until our next game. I'm going to be thinking about this all week. I'll try and compose myself. Well, positives. Let's go for positives, okay? I thought Hunter Clark was good. I thought Hunter Clark played a great game. I thought that Battle didn't have a lot of the ball, but some of the body on the line stuff that he did was next level. He hurt himself tonight, and that's what finals football is about. It's not just getting the touches, it's risking your own safety for the better of your team. And Josh Battle, mate, put your head up. You did an excellent job at doing that, mate. You put your body on the line 3 or 4 times tonight when you had to go, when the ball was easily going to be taken away by a West Coast player. You put yourself on the line and stopped that from happening. I thought Brad Hill had some nice moments. I know that some people are going to criticize him, but he's on big money. He's the big recruit. He's always going to have his haters, but I thought he played a good game. I thought he set up a lot of scoring chains for us, and I thought that he was one of our cleaner ball users. I thought Coffield did his best tonight. And Jack Steele and Zach Jones, even Paddy Ryder, actually. Paddy Ryder was phenomenal against Nick Naitanui. That was a big game from Paddy, and I thought he did a very good job. Kicked an early goal, took some really good marks against Nick Nat, and got some clearances. He's one of the rare ruckmen that can hold his own in the middle of the ground with Nick Nat. Naitanui is one of those rucks that will just rove his own taps and get the clearance, but in this case, I thought that Paddy Ryder negated that well enough that it got us into a winning position. And, if it wasn't for a couple of misses late by Brad Hill and Max King and a few others, you'd think we'd probably get the chocolates, but we didn't. And I'm trying to cover up my anger here, guys. I don't want to be completely ruthless on the team. If I'm being dead honest with you, I'm sick of these, honourable losses, and I'm sick of being that little bit close. Why can't we be like the Geelongs, where they get all the wins, they get all the glory? Why can't we be that team? It's like we're born into this now. We're just gonna have to deal with it, but we still have one more chance to make up for this next week. We have one chance left in our season, and we're not playing an easy team. We've got the hardest draw out of any team in the last 2 weeks. We play West Coast and we play GWS, and GWS dropped a game the other day that they should have won, and it's going to be a big test next week to see how we respond and how every other team below us goes this week. That's the one thing that I'm going to be looking at closely, is the Bulldogs, Melbourne, even Carlton. There's players like that, teams like that still in with the sniff, and we're giving them that sniff. I just wish that we could have gone out tonight, showed some sort of ruthlessness, and gotten the job done against an undermanned team. Yes, they've got some stars, but they were undermanned, guys. They were missing Dom Sheed. They were missing Yo. They were missing McGovern. They were missing Redden, Archie, Jeddah. I can go on. They were missing a number of stars. I saw a tweet earlier today, and it showed the most clearances from the 2018 Grand Final for West Coast. It showed 8 or 9 players that had the most clearances in the 2018 Grand Final. And guess what? All of those players for West Coast were not playing tonight. And we lost the game. So it's heartbreaking. This kills me. This really upsets me. People say that it's just a game and there's next week and all this shit. For supporters like me and for you guys watching, it's more than that. This was a big deal, and I know the boys are hurting. I know Rats is hurting, and they're not going to feel like it's just another game. I know they're going to understand the ramifications of this loss. They're not stupid. They went out there and they tried their best, and we just weren't clean enough for long enough, and we weren't good enough for long enough. And West Coast, even with the limited stars they had today, those stars maximised their opportunities and they got them the win. Tim Kelly knew that he had to lift in the midfield because he was missing his teammates. He lifted. Gaff the same. Nat Nui the same. Kennedy, Darling, Ryan did all what they had to do and got the scoreboard on, and we just couldn't put enough pressure on when we were on top, and we coughed a lead up late. And that's the most disappointing thing, I think, is that it wasn't just the loss itself. It was the fact that we got into a winning position in the last quarter, like we have in a lot of games this season, and we just couldn't see it out. We couldn't slow it down. We couldn't kick the winning goal at the end. We couldn't do what was required to get the points. And, I'm hoping that this is just another learning curve for the boys. Every loss that we have is unique in its own way. And in this one, it's very unique because this game was contested. It was 3-5 at 3/4 time in, relatively, average rain. It wasn't heavy, so the game was good enough for it to be a high-scoring game. But because of the pressure, it was through the roof. West Coast were on, we were on, and both teams couldn't really get enough scoreboard pressure on one another. But yeah, we're on to next week. That's the way it is, and let's just hope the boys can have a good break and come back bigger and better next week. But God, we love putting ourselves in difficult positions, don't we? I'm just going to go through some of these comments. I just wanted to say, guys, I know I've read some comments even on the Full-Time Post and people saying that I'm too negative or I'm being a bit harsh. I love the boys. I loved their endeavour. I'm just fucking pissed. I'm just upset. I just want us to be in finals. It's not that hard. There's 16 teams in the comp, or however many teams in the comp. And I just want us to be one of the top 8 at the end of the year. That's it. It's simple as that. And I know that we're good enough. That's the thing. I know we're good enough to make finals. We've been in the top 8 all year. It's as simple as that. We're good enough. And we just couldn't jump that hurdle. But hopefully next week we can. So I'm just going to go through some of these comments. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify. I'm fully supportive of the boys. I thought they tried their fucking hearts out tonight. I'm just really upset. and I'm just being honest. And if you can't handle it, I'm sorry. You're welcome to say that I'm wrong, but this is just me being honest and sharing my thoughts. Let's go through some of these comments. I'm going to scroll as far up as I can, and maybe not all the way to the top. There's a lot of comments. We'll start with Joe. We've got to stop bombing the ball every week. It's not working. Great comment to start off. That is partly why I thought we lost the game tonight. You know, McGovern, when he was playing in the first half, was killing it. You know, again, Barras, McGovern, these sort of guys. We gave them the easy way out. Schofield even, who's not even that good. We gave him easy chances to take the mark because we were just bombing. Because we didn't honour the lead. You know, there were rare times where we honoured the lead and we scored. You know, when Brad Hill sets up a player, we score. You know, there's opportunities there, and we just didn't do it consistently enough. We're still 50% bombing, 50% going short, and when we're under pressure, we're bombing more than we're composing ourselves. So, you know, that's something that hopefully in time will kind of be eradicated from our game plan. That's something that's from the Richo era, and it's still stuck in a lot of the psyches of our players. Hopefully Ratton in the off-season can just get that out, because it's fucking shit, and you're not going to win finals playing that sort of football. West Coast didn't bomb as much and capitalised on their chances going inside 50, and we didn't. You know, there was parts of the game, like I think it was the third term or the second term, where we had 94% forward half ball. You know, the ball was in our forward 50 for 94% of the quarter. And guess what? We got outscored in that quarter by West Coast. You know, that's the sort of stuff that loses you games. You need to maximize when you're on top. When you're on top, you need to kick goals, because you're not going to be on top for long. You know, even if it's for 10 minutes when you're 94% in your forward 50, you need to take those chances, because, you know, for the rest of the quarter, for 5 minutes of that quarter, West Coast are going to have a moment. And if they take it, all that work, all that effort, all that pressure and, you know, that energy going into that quarter to get that pressure is just gone, you know, and that hurts you. So great comment there from Joe. This is from Matt. Are we any chance to hit up a lead rather than bombing? That's exactly the same comment. I agree with you there, mate. We just talked about it. Bombing is a no-go zone, 100%. Ben Patton was good tonight. He was. You know, I thought Ben Patton was actually pretty good on Liam Ryan. I thought Ben Long was definitely the matchup that I would have gone with for Liam Ryan. But Pato was actually really good one-on-one. You know, he showed a different side of himself tonight. When I thought Liam Ryan was certain for a few easy chest marks, Pato would come in physically and just punch the ball out of bounds and negate that sort of situation. I thought he had a great game tonight. I thought most of our backs were pretty good. You know, a lot of people are giving a bit of shit to Geary, and maybe it's rightly so. I thought he had a bit of an average one tonight, and that free kick to Oscar Allen in the goal square late in the game. Fuck, you know, that's the sort of shit you don't expect your captain to be doing. But yeah, what are you going to say? He's going to play every week. He's the captain. And that's really it, really. You know, you can't really say much more. Brian Taylor wanted Eagles to win all game. That's from Mitchell. The biggest difference in the game was contested marks. Sensational comment there, Caleb. I saw a stat midway through the fourth term. Contested marks, 4 St Kilda, 15 to West Coast. I said it all week. If the game is played in the air, we lose. If it's on the deck, we win. And for the majority of the game, it was played in the air, and West Coast took contested marks, and guess what? They end up winning the game. We had moments where we had it on our terms along the deck, and we played ugly, and we got scoreboard pressure from it. But for most of the game, it was uncontested, it was in the air, and we just couldn't punch. We couldn't get any sort of physical body on the West Coast players, and it was annoying that even the players for West Coast that don't generally take contested marks, even they were taking contested marks, you know? I'm happy to say that, yes, Darling, Kennedy, they take contested marks. They're big forwards, they're tall, they do that every week. But when it's smaller players doing it, like Tim Kelly took a few, you're like, really? How is no one getting any sort of physical body onto this and punching it out of bounds right there? You know, it doesn't make any sense. So that was a big reason why I thought we lost tonight. King needs to start taking grabs. I know it was one of those games, but he did some really nice things as well, where the ball was on the deck. He was almost better tonight when the ball was on the deck than when it was in the air. You know, I'm not understating that. He dropped a lot of easy marks tonight. He kicked, I think, 3 or 4 points. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he kicked 3 or 4 points. And the times where he really shined was when the ball hit the ground. He just picked it up quickly, handballed it off 2 seconds, and set up a few scoring chains. He turned into a midfielder. So he's showing that side of his game. We just want him clunking marks in the goal scorer and kicking 5 every week. That's the Max King we want. We don't really care about him roving that much because we've got smalls that are supposed to be doing that. And that brings me to Dean Kent, who had a very quiet game tonight. Hadn't had a disposal up until 3/4 time, I think, or 1 or 2 disposals then. So whether he plays next week is a big question mark. And if we can get Gresh or Dunstan or someone else back in, remains to be seen. But there were a few players like Kent that just didn't do enough for me tonight, and that hurts you. Battle Geary Ryder, take a bow. So that's Ari. He's celebrating Geary there. So that's a different sort of comment. A lot of them tonight have been pretty negative to Geary. So Ari's giving him a clap there. For our last 3 losses, I blame Max King. That's from Matt. That is a bit harsh. I'm not going to be blaming a first-year player on any loss this season. I think that in these games, in these losses that we've had this year, a lot of them we've been in control of. A lot of them we've been in front late in the 4th quarter, and we've just not been able to get the win. We've not been able to go for that final knockout blow. And, you can't blame Max King for that. That to me, is a bit harsh. Daniel says, all those losses have cost us really. Still can't believe we have lost those games earlier in the season that needs to count, but comes back to bite us on the bum. Yeah, well, I was hoping that those losses weren't going to come back to bite us in the ass, but it looks like they are. But we have one more chance to make finals, and Jesus, just bring everyone in. Gresh, if you're injured, mate, throw him in. Dunstan, you're back. Get all these players that can win us the game. Even Hanbury. I mean, I read during the week that Hanbury is probably only likely if we make finals. But geez, if he's half fit, you give him a chance. We are professional losers. That's from Adam. Nick Caulfield is my daddy. That's from Declan. Todd says, I'm so pissed off I ever picked this club when I came to, I don't know where that is, in 1977. I must love pain. There again next match. Yeah, I know, it's tough being a Saints fan, isn't it? But at the same time, I think we all have this underlying love of being the underdog. We don't want to go for the mainstream teams that just win every week and jump on the bandwagon, Richmond and Collingwoods and the Geelongs and this sort of teams. We want to be part of history. And, if ever St Kilda win a second premiership, we are part of genuine history, and you hate it and love it at the same time. That to me is this, I'm an Arsenal fan, and Arsenal were very successful in the early 2000s in the EPL, and lately they've not really done much. Same with Andy Roddick, tennis. I was a big Andy Roddick fan, and he made a lot of Grand Slam finals, but he was in the era of Roger Federer in his prime and Rafael Nadal, and he loses. So you go for these underdogs, and you don't even realize it, but all the teams that you support, all the people, just the sports in general, I support the underdogs, and AFL is no different. I'm a Saints fan, and yes, we're going to go through these losses a lot. We're going to go through highs and lows, and probably more lows than highs. Based on history, but we're going to be around, and hopefully sooner rather than later we can be part of history, Yep, annoyed, pissed off. This from Natalie. Annoyed, pissed off, disappointed, all of that. What do you do? Our time is coming. Keep the faith. Great comment there. Yes, tonight is going to be frustrating, as it's evident watching me here. But yeah, obviously keep the faith. We only lost tonight, 15 points. We had our chances in the last quarter to bury the game, and this review would have been very different if we had have buried those chances. Champagne would have been out. We would have ignored all of the negativity, and we would have just talked about the fact that we made finals, and that was it. But that's going to be on ice until next week, so we'll have to wait and see if in a week's time we're going to be talking about finals. But yeah, loving that positivity from Natalie. Christian says we need Rufford to help convert 13 points to 13 goals. Good point. We are missing Ruffy, aren't we? He's in isolation. I think he's got another week to go. I don't know. I think he might be okay for the GWS game to be on the bench. That could be an absolute secret weapon to have Ruffy back. Because earlier in the season, when we were playing well and fast and effective in our forward 50s, he was on the bench, Ratton was in the box, and that was the setup. Ratton's on the bench now. I'm not sure who's in the box, kind of watching the field, but I'd prefer to have Ratton there just so he can have a full view of what's going on the field. You don't have that same view when you're on the bench. Absolutely heartbroken. That's from Bridget. Most wooden spoons in AFL history for a reason. That's from Flynn. Yeah, let's not get too crazy with that sort of shit. Cam says, why not be ruthless? Why are we accepting mediocrity? Yeah, fair point. You know, I don't accept mediocrity ever really. You know, I'm pretty harsh on myself. I've got high standards in general, and I've got them for the boys. You know, it's no different. I want us to be the best team in the competition, and I don't care if I don't succumb to the whole thing of we're having a rebuild where we're a young team with this, with that. Fuck, make your own history. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's 22 versus 22. Just be the better 22. It's as simple as that. You know, I am simplifying it a little bit, but on the surface, that's really what it is. They're human, you're human. Just be better. Just be better. You know, and tonight in patches we were better, but for most of the part we weren't, and we got what we deserved. We got a close, honourable loss. Dave says Butler and King have slipped into the abyss. They have been quiet lately, haven't they? You know, Butler and King, their goals have just dried up. Earlier in the season they were fine, and in the last 3 or 4 weeks, you know, you'd be lucky to get 1 goal between them per game. This is from Brandon, if the Demons, Dogs and the Blues lose this week, then it looks almost certain we may make it, but still need to win next week. Yeah, mate, I don't want to rely on any sort of outside losses. I just want to get the win. You know, I just wanted to settle it now and enjoy the next week and be relaxed. But now we're going to be thinking about what, you know, this result, that result. Everyone's going to be on the ladder predictors. It's going to be a ridiculous time in the next week. So next Friday night can't come quickly enough. And what a Friday night game it's going to be. 2 teams vying for a final spot, you know, potentially. It's going to be a crazy position to be in, you know. It's going to be terrifying to watch. Every goal against us is going to just slowly be a jab, and every goal for us is going to be just crazy celebration. Daniel says, missing Jack Stevens' want for the ball, that want to win every contesting game. I don't know about that, you know. I think that the boys tonight, they showed a will. They wanted to win, and whether it was just composure or the fact that West Coast had a few better A-graders or their players were better, or they just took their chances more than we did, it's probably a combination of those things. I don't think we're missing Jack Stevens as much as you think. Zahi says, you guys always let Max King off the hook. He's missing set shots frequently. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be too harsh on Max King. You know, he's a first-year player. Earlier in the season, he was great, and yes, he's missed a few easy chances lately. But I don't succumb to that being the reason why we're losing these games. We have other opportunities to win these games, and we didn't take them. You know, I don't want to put it on Max King. He did some nice things tonight. So, you know, he didn't kick goals, but he's set up a few other scoring chances or goals as well. So he's making up for his lack of goals in other ways. So I don't want to get too negative on that. Lockie says, where's Carlisle? Geez, he would have been nice to have in that back line in the last 10 minutes, taking a few intercept marks. His missus is pregnant. I think, I've heard a rumour that she might have given birth and he had to fly out to Sydney to the hospital, but that's just a rumour. But that's also what's happening is that, you know, he's got a kid on the way and he's probably not mentally in football at the moment. He's focusing on family, which is completely fine. And families are always number one to football. So I think that's the reason why he didn't play. But if he was fit and we didn't play him for no reason, that would be a problem. I just don't see why Rats would do that. So there must be another reason to why we didn't play Carlisle and Dylan Robertson as well, being an emergency. I think he only would have played if Caulfield didn't pull up from his ankle injury. Georgia says, so emotionally exhausted. I am the same. I am wrecked. You know, this whole night this whole build-up this week has taken it out of me. And, you know, we're going to go back into the usual routine. Saints TV podcast next week and the preview for GWS and watching every game and seeing the results and how it affects us during that time. It's just exhausting, you know. And it's not even the weekend yet. I've still got to work tomorrow and then it's the weekend, but then we play the Friday after. So it's just such a long wait. You know, it's just going to be a pain in the ass to just think about it and you know, have nightmares about, you know, not making finals based on these results. You know, it's going to be a long week. Byron says, geez, I want to rewatch the entire game and you're still here making excuses for your weak team. Thanks for that, mate. Positive comments. Need Gresh back. Yep, I agree. We're missing him in the middle. His clearance work he was number one for clearances before his injury for the club. So we're missing him big time there. And you think that when he comes back, our midfield's going to be, you know, much better, significantly better. When you can rely on Zach Jones going for runs and not so much going for clearances. You know, Gresh is a clearance beast. You want Jones to be the runner going for the handball, and you want Steele to be the contested ball beast. So you've got the perfect balance there, but right now we're missing that balance without Gresh. Tim says this is where the North Melbourne Freo and Melbourne losses really burn. I agree with you, mate. They're killing us right now. Lisa's looking forward to a good game when we turned up for the 2 quarters. I know these are the sort of games where you need to play 3-4 quarters. You know, you can't afford to play 2, maybe 1.5 good quarters and win the game against a team like West Coast, even with their injuries. You know, they brought in players that are inexperienced, yes, but they're players that haven't played all season and they think they have a chance of making finals and being in that team. So they're auditioning for a finals team. So they're going to be playing hard. So if anything, it's even harder playing a team like that because you don't know who to match up on because there's a lot of new players coming in and a lot of players that are going to be playing at, you know, full throttle to hopefully cement themselves into a team that's going to play finals. Daniel says we need to play out of our skin next week. Need to play it like it's a grand final. Mate, we needed to play tonight like it's a grand final. We need to play next week like it's a grand final. That's just how it is. You know, there's no other way about it. Next week is a final. It's an elimination final. So you win, you're in. You lose, you're out. Simple as that. Go all out, no matter what. Guns blazing. Leave everything on the football field, and that's it. You know, tonight there was probably 3 or 4 players where I thought, can they really say that they played 100% tonight and they gave it their absolute everything? I don't think so. You know, I don't want to name names. We'll talk about it in the podcast with our Saint Jacinta Benner. But, yeah, there were a couple of players there that I thought, nah, in a big game like this, you need to be giving more, and they didn't. Billings was terrible tonight. I don't know what his stats were. I thought he started really well early, but then second half was a bit quiet. I think for memory, he have over 20. I'm not sure if I'm making that up, but I thought he had a lot of the ball, but perhaps just didn't use it as effectively as we wanted. Peter says, hey kid, wait till you're in your 50s. Unfortunately, nothing will change. Mate, I do not want to be thinking about that. You know, when I'm what am I, 27 now, when I'm 30, in the next 5 years, I want to have a Saints premiership, you know. I don't want to be mid-30s still going for a premiership for our second one. You know, the Bulldogs did it. Richmond have done it. You know, Melbourne made a prelim in 2018. Surely we can get back to the top and vying for a premiership sooner rather than later. You know, I don't want to be waiting longer for that. I'm too impatient for that sort of stuff. We need an A-grade midfielder. That's from Christian. Yeah, in games like tonight, you can see the benefit of having a Kelly and a Gaff. Although Jack Steele's had a phenomenal season, and yes, I think he's A grade, he needed more support and he didn't get it. You see players like Kelly and Gaff in the way they just use the ball, and it's not so much how much of the ball they get. Yes, they both got over 28 possessions, but it's more just their impact on the result of the game. And it's basically, they were that good that the injuries that West Coast have suffered are irrelevant. That's how good they were. If we had the same amount of injuries to our starting team, we would be fucked. But because they can go to that level, it just saved them, and that's the disappointing part. But it shows that in the off-season, we need to be going for a Kelly. We need to be going for another gun player. And we can't just sit on what we've got. We need to keep building that midfield, because that's where I think we need a bit more work. It's just the middle of the ground. I think defence is working. We've got some young players there that are growing. And forwards fine with King and Membry, Marshall and Battle and these sort of guys. I think it's the middle of the ground that we still need to develop. Tina says, this hurts like hell. Why do they do this to us year after year? It's bloody hard being a St Kilda supporter. I blame my parents for this burden. Yeah, it's hard. It is hard, but sadly we're accustomed to it, aren't we? So we're probably the best type of people to handle this sort of stuff in the AFL. Marshall was way better leading the forward line. I agree. Marshall lately has looked like our most capable forward. I thought Tim Membry started really well early and he looked up for it. He looked like a captain leading the team, with that early goal, the amount of ball that he had in the first quarter. But Marshall just looks the most natural forward. He marks the ball. And when King's not marking it, I feel like Marshall's the next best thing. And I don't think we played him there enough tonight. Would have been good to trial him there a bit more. Lucas says, feel like if we get over the line next week, we can be really competitive on the big stage, Jakey. So what do we need to do to beat GWS? Same as tonight. We need to stop their midfield. Josh Kelly might be back. They've got Taranto. They've got Whitfield. They've got Hopper. They've got Toby Green that goes through there. They've got a very good team. Their team on paper is stronger than the West Coast team that we played tonight, and we struggled tonight. So we're going to have to be 25-30% better in the middle alone next week to be competitive, and we need to be taking our chances. The good thing about, I think, next week is that, West Coast are very good in defence and they have a lot of good intercept marks and they're very disciplined. The one thing with GWS is that I think they can be ill-disciplined. They can concede goals quickly, and I think that they can kind of get ahead of themselves because they know they're good. They're almost too good, too arrogant, and I think that teams like us that aren't as good but will fight can hurt them. Whereas tonight, West Coast, they're talented, but they're also disciplined, and they're not arrogant. They're pretty modest about themselves. So if GWS get ahead of themselves next week, I see us taking advantage there. But we just need to break even in the midfield. Simple as that. I'm feeling as bad as you are, Jakey. That's from Shane. Poor selection choice without Carlisle. That's from Brad. Dougal is a waste of money. That's from Adam. Disagree there, mate. Dougal has been great all season. That's a bit harsh. Yeah. There's a lot of comments, guys. It's tough. Matthew says, absolutely no words after that, mate. Just can't believe how we bottled our finals chances. I don't see us beating GWS. Max King needs his brother in the forward line. That's from Jack. Get rid of Hind and Kent. Yeah, they're going to be on the chopping block big time. They were both quiet, especially Kent. That's from Tom. Oh, God, it's draining. And whoever's commenting saying that Jaron Geary is the worst AFL captain in history, I think that's Nick. Mate, stop copying and pasting that comment. It's ridiculous. He's our captain. Deal with it. And stop being a prick and commenting. That's just stupid. So anyone that's seen that comment, feel free to give him a shitload there and tell him to move on. Jade says, sit back and show us your top. Well, I'll show it, but it's a bit disappointing. This is the Max King. The Max King top, the merch that's hopefully going to be released in the next week. Website's slightly delayed, but hopefully in the next few days we'll get it going. I wanted to come on here with some champagne and to flaunt the Max King top and to say that he had a big game, but it wasn't the case, but nonetheless, we're going to support the boys, aren't we? We're going to focus on next week. We're still in a position that we can make finals, It's so hard. It's so hard trying to just be positive all the time. But the reality is we can win next week and make finals, and that's all I've got to think about. It's tough. Tonight's tough. It's draining. It's really draining. When you have a chance to make finals against an undermanned team and we don't get the chocolates, it's really tough. But at the end of the day, we have a chance next week to make amends and to create history. So I know the boys are going to be hurting. You're hurting. I'm hurting. We're all hurting. Let's just make sure that we're not, we're not going to be too negative all week and just say that the season's over, because it's not over. This season's been weird. We've played well in a lot of it. We've played average in a lot of it. But reality is that we have a chance next Friday night to create history and to make finals for the first time since 2011. So I'm just going to be focusing on that. I'm not going to be too negative all week. Hope you guys won't be, because the boys, you could tell they've really tried tonight. It was just a lack of class, a lack of finishing in the last 5 minutes. And if, Brad Hill kicks that goal running into an open goal, we win the game. And I'm not blaming him for that, but I'm just saying there are those sort of situations in maybe next week where we take those that seal the win and get us across the line. So until then, guys, I'm going to leave you. I'm sorry that it's a shit review and it's just so negative and tough to just swallow this loss and to deal with it. But I hope you appreciate the honesty and just me being just all out there. I'm just leaving all the emotion out there. And if you've got more feelings and more comments, keep them coming. But yeah, it's going to be a tough week, but onwards and upwards, we have a chance next Friday night to beat GWS and make finals. So until then, guys, I hope you have a great week. I know it's going to be fucking shit. I hope you have a great weekend, first of all. Hopefully some results go our way, but realistically, we need to win next week to make finals, and that's all we need to focus on. So the boys have a decent break now. They've got, over 7 days. And we're going to do it all again next week. And we're tough. Saints fans are tough. So bring it on. Let's do it next Friday night and make finals and create history. But until then, guys, take care of yourselves. Saints TV podcast will be out. We might do it early again, considering the long turnaround. But if not, it'll be Tuesday night. So stay tuned for that. And, as always, thanks again for watching. We've had over 500-600 people watching tonight and a lot of comments, I'm sure. So I really appreciate it. I appreciate all your support and all your comments and your thoughts. So, thanks again. And I'll chat to you for the preview for the GWS game next week. So take care. Have a great weekend and go you Sainers.